If you're feeling things are getting harder, you're not alone. Every day the gap between the super rich and the rest gets wider. The rich gets richer while the rest of us find it harder and harder to afford the basics we all need to live a dignified life. Inflation means everything costs more and your pay isn't keeping up. The interest rate on your mortgage won't stop climbing and power bills land with a thud every quarter. More than a third of us say it's hard and getting harder just to pay everyday expenses. 1 in 5 of us are behind on our bills, dodging phone calls from the bank chasing late mortgage payments or your landlord chasing last month's rent. If you're a single parent or have a disability or renting or you're injured or sick, things are even harder. 1 in 8 of us are already living below the poverty line, and many more are just one shock away from impossible choices. You get sick or injured, you lose your job, you take on caring responsibilities you didn't expect. Your landlord hikes the rent or kicks you out to redevelop your home into luxury apartments and you're priced out of where you call home. A relationship ends, a partner dies. Suddenly what was already tricky with 2 incomes becomes almost impossible with 1. Suddenly you're asking questions that no one should have to ask. Will I eat today? Will I have somewhere to sleep? Can I afford new school uniforms, work shoes, or dinner with friends? If you're lucky, you've got some savings. But just as often, they're already gone, eaten up by medical bills, car repairs, insurance, rego. I got elected to try and help people, and over the last several years, I've been honoured and devastated to have so many people reach out to me to share their stories of struggle and hardship in a system that stopped working for people. Their stories aren't one-offs. They're stories repeated across different people, different situations, different towns, but still the same story of an unfair system stacking the odds against them, meeting struggle with greed or indifference. A story where they feel isolated, alone, and powerless. It might be fighting for basic supports through the NDIS, a drawn-out battle with an insurance company, denying compensation for a workplace injury, fleeing violence with nowhere to go, fighting to have a child accepted into a local school that can cater for their needs, sleeping rough, desperate for a safe place to go, or the countless cases of women, children, and First Nations people suffering trauma at the hands of a justice system that fails to protect the most vulnerable. Everywhere across this state, I see good people doing their best, trying to get back on their feet, only to have our systems fail them and make things harder, not easier. If you're feeling that things are getting crueler as well as harder, you're not alone. For you and for me and for our neighbours and friends, life is getting harder. But it's not getting tougher for everyone. For a small, wealthy few, life just keeps getting better and better. While our governments cut back on the basic services we all need to live a dignified life, they're bending over backwards to give more to the rich and the powerful. Our federal government spends more public money on tax breaks for property investors than on social housing, homelessness services, and rent assistance combined. Labor and the coalition parties pick the side of big business and their mega-rich owners. They shower them with handouts and subsidies. But when it comes to people doing it tough and who need it most, the well is already run dry, and suddenly compassion has to be sustainable. Australia's top 48 billionaires hold more wealth than 40% of the population combined. 48 people in this country hold more wealth than 11 million of us. And with that wealth, they're securing even more political power. When people like Gina Rinehart, Australia's richest woman, dines with politicians and funnels massive donations into campaigns, is it any wonder that our political elite work together to maintain an economic system that continues to deliver for people like them, while more and more of us fall further behind? Wealth inequality is political. The decisions that led to 48 Australians becoming billionaires while 13% of us continue to live in poverty, those were political decisions. And that's important to remember. When the government chooses to leave $1 billion in potential gambling tax revenue on the table while cutting off thousands of people from workers' compensation, that is a political decision. Cutting income and disability supports while paying billions to foreign weapons companies for submarines we'll likely never see, that's a political decision. Decisions designed to widen economic inequality and make life tougher for everyday people. If you think it doesn't have to be this way, you're right and you're not alone. The economy we have is designed by people and it can be changed by people. We can tax the rich, the sky won't fall in. We can force the mega wealthy to pay their fair share so that the rest of us can live a good and dignified life. We just have to choose to do so.